Your time is 7 p.m. and you're watching Wednesday's edition of Newsplus. Let's take a look at the headlines. Acting President Kembo Mohadi has described the relationship between the state and the church as critical in fostering peace, unity and social development as he toured the newly completed Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Harare. The government has availed funds to the Department of Civil Protection for disaster management and response efforts. More details on that on Newsplus. Also on Newsplus, Mpilo Hospital has been forced to outsource critical services as vandals have destroyed water and electricity infrastructure at Bulawayo's biggest referral hospital. And for your sport, the Zimbabwe under-19 men's cricket squad is bracing up for an encounter with Pakistan. That's tomorrow at Takashinga Sports Club. It is a good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. Let's now take a look at the stories that are making the headlines. And we start with Acting President Kembo Mohadi, who has described the relationship between the state and the church as critical in fostering peace, unity and social development. Now, he made these remarks when he toured the newly completed Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here in Harare this Wednesday. Ibn Mabunda was at the tour.
After 5 years of construction, the Harare, Zimbabwe Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has opened its doors to the public, drawing national attention to one of the most significant religious landmarks in the country. Addressing the media during a guided tour of the facility, Acting President Kembo Mohadi described the relationship between the state and the church as critical in fostering peace, unity and social development.
The church and the government have always worked together from time immemorial. It doesn't matter which denomination it is, but we have always worked with the church. They looked after the spiritual side of the human being. We look after the social side of things.
The acting president commended the church for investing in Zimbabwe, describing the temple as a powerful symbol of religious freedom and tolerance.
We always compliment each other, and we're going to continue complimenting each other. You will recall that during the colonial days and all the churches that came here first were missionaries. Even now we have our own indigenous churches, but the center is always God, is always Jesus Christ. He's always the center. We all converge there.
The Harare Temple is the first of its kind in Zimbabwe and the 214th operating temple worldwide. The single-story structure spans over 17,000 square feet and incorporates local architectural elements inspired by Zimbabwe's indigenous culture, including geometric designs and floral motifs drawn from the national flower, the flame lily. Church leaders say the temple is not only a place of worship, but also a center for strengthening families and reinforcing moral values in society.
It's the third temple in Southern Africa, but it's the 8th temple in all of the continent in Africa. Now, we expect that this building is mostly for the people from Zimbabwe. It's within that country. And of course, some neighboring countries, everybody can come here. So I can come here and then can come worship. And so I'm pretty sure that this will attract several people from around the world to come here to this beautiful ground.
The temple is also expected to attract thousands of worshippers from Zimbabwe and neighboring countries, further positioning the country as a regional spiritual and cultural hub. The relationship between religion and the state remains pivotal towards the maintenance of peace, stability and unity in Zimbabwe. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Ibn Mabunda, Zimbabwe's capital Harare.
Now, in other news, government has availed funds to the Civil Protection Unit for disaster management and response efforts. At a time, 79 lives and infrastructure worth close to $1 million has been lost due to flooding since the start of the rainy season. Now, the first tranche of the funds has already had a positive impact on rescue operations, with more money expected to be released by the end of this month. And ZTN has been closely following the situation in different provinces. Now, joining us live to give us the latest is Nathan Nkomo. That's the Chief Director in the Department of the Civil Protection Unit. Now, Nathan, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Nathan, heavy rains have been recorded across the country. What is the update on the situation so far?
Thank you very much, and good evening, our viewers. Thank you very much for inviting us to this important program. I'm sure from the statistics that we have recorded, yes, the rainfall season, as we welcomed it, because we have graduated from a devastating drought disaster, we were so happy to receive all this rainfall in the various provinces. However, we have recorded fatalities, we have recorded injuries of people during this rainfall season from October to January. And in terms of fatalities, we now have 79 people. I understand one person died in Shpinge this morning, and we were given that statistic. So we are now at 79 people who have perished as a result of this rainfall season. And in terms of injuries, quite a number of people were injured, especially the recalcitrant elements who try to cross flooded rivers. They end up having injuries, but some were also affected when they were doing other related activities, economic activities related to mining. You know, our artisanal miners, some mine along waterways, and their mines collapsed, and that's where we also witnessed some injuries.
All right, and then how about in terms of damages, Nathan? Has the department made an assessment of the total cost of damaged infrastructure?
From the BOQs that we got from the provinces, and looking at some of the infrastructure which was destroyed, we can now put it at around 1 million, because some roads were washed away, some bridges were washed away. $1 million, we can put it at that.
Thank you very much and have a good evening. Now, moving on, government says it is working to address the shortage of top-dressing fertilizer by the end of this month. And this comes after several pleas by farmers who said the shortages have resulted in additional costs on the alternative market, which threatens food security. And now Mashudu Mambo gives us more.
Farmers across the country have bemoaned the persistent shortages of ammonium nitrate, an essential top-dressing fertilizer for cereal production. This, they said, threatens the quality of their crops and ultimate yields. Zimbabwe Farmers Union Director Paul Zakaria said the shortage of top-dressing fertilizer has triggered price hikes, placing an additional burden on farmers.
We are also experiencing supply constraints. So these constraints are actually putting a lot of pressure on the little that we have on the market. And as a result, your supply and demand mechanisms will then push your prices up.
Zakaria warned that continued shortages pose a serious threat to maize production, which could result in reduced yields and affect food security.
Now, the shortage of top-dressing fertilizers definitely has an effect in terms of reducing the expected yield for whatever one is producing, particularly the cereals that we are looking at the moment. So we really need to make sure that this situation has been addressed.
The government said it insists with the matter, assuring farmers that fertilizers will be availed to rescue the situation. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Professor Obed Jiri, said they have implemented measures to ensure that the situation is addressed by the end of the month.
We are aware of the shortage of nitrogen fertilizers across the country. It's trickling in as the SI, which allowed the importation of duty-free fertilizer is now bearing fruit, so it's trickling in. We expect that the situation will normalize by the end of this month.
As fertilizer shortages continue to affect farmers nationwide, stakeholders are urging swift interventions to ensure timely availability of ammonium nitrate. With cereal crops at a critical growth stage, resolving the fertilizer supply gap remains key to safeguarding food security. For ZTM Prime, I am Mashudu Mambo in Harare.
The government has officially handed over 8,000 Starlink satellite internet kits to schools across Zimbabwe as part of the presidential internet scheme. Now, this initiative aims to close the long-standing digital divide, especially in rural and hard-to-reach areas. And speaking at the handover ceremony, ICT Minister Tatenda Mavetere described this as a strategic intervention that is designed to ensure that no learner is left behind.
So we are here today to make sure that we'll be able to continuously support the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education in their endeavor to achieve a digital transformation within our primary and secondary schools. Again, we have agreed that we need to also look at ways that we can for us to continuously be able to provide for digital skills for our teachers and again for our students. This is really the way to go. Right now, as we prepare for the 21st century, there are some skills that we need to equip our students with. And this is greatly done when we're also going to provide.
Primary and Secondary Education Minister Torirai Moyo said the rollout of these Starlink kits marks a significant milestone in Zimbabwe's drive to modernize education. Now, the kits, which provide satellite-based internet connectivity, will allow students and teachers in both urban centers and remote districts to access educational resources, to conduct research, and also participate in virtual classrooms.
In today's fast-paced world, access to reliable internet connectivity is not only a luxury, it is a necessity for learning and growth. The introduction of these Starlink kits will revolutionize how our students access educational resources, conduct research, and connect with their peers and educators, regardless of their geographical location.
Now, here's an update in Bulawayo. Thieves have wreaked havoc at Bulawayo's biggest referral hospital, Mpilo, vandalizing water pipes and electricity cables, leaving the institution incapacitated. Now, doctors have gone for a week without water in their residence after vandals stripped copper pipes and brass taps from the newly rehabilitated doctors' quarters. Now, Mpilo Central Hospital Acting Operations Director Phineas Sitole said the hospital's laundry department, which provides a critical service, is now without power due to vandalism, forcing the hospital to outsource linen washing to sister hospitals. Now, he appealed for urgent security measures to protect the hospital and its operations, adding that the criminal acts are endangering the lives of staff and patients.
It's bringing us back because we are keeping on replacing what we think we have finished. I think as you saw on that doctor's quarters, they just recently, last week, all the copper pipes were stolen, literally violently cut. So at the end of the day, instead of using that money, we will buy those coppers and repair them. We could have channeled that money to other commodities like medications, food for the patients. So that's one thing. And to make matters worse, last week they actually cut the perimeter fence, the pallet, which shows how serious these thieves are.
Sitole added that funds meant for medication and other critical supplies are now being diverted to repair damaged infrastructure. And this comes as the institution is already spending close to $5,000 daily in fuel for 10 generators to keep essential services running.
These things which are being vandalized are there to offer services which will improve the service delivery to the community. But now when they are cut like that, that means we have to use other sister hospitals, and now our smooth flow of work is actually affected. Yeah, And we tend to get some few complaints of people saying there's no linen, there's no whatever. But basically, we have got enough of that, but we get handicapped by these constant increasing thefts.
Stay tuned to Newsplus for more stories and updates shortly after the break.
The Committee on Standing Rules and Orders CSRO of the Parliament of Zimbabwe is mandated in terms of Section 237 of the Constitution to invite the public to nominate candidates for possible appointment by His Excellency, the President of Zimbabwe, to serve as commissioners on independent commissions. One vacancy has risen on the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission following the resignation of one commissioner. Accordingly, the Committee on Standing Rules and Order hereby invites the people to nominate suitably qualified persons for consideration for possible appointment to the Commission. Nomination material must consist of a typewritten submission of no more than 2 A4 pages long, stating why the person nominated is a suitable candidate, together with a detailed curriculum vitae and a nomination form which can be obtained at the new Parliament of Zimbabwe, Mount Hampton offices. Human Resource Department, 3rd floor, room 340. Or downloaded from the Parliament website www.palzim.gov.zw. Nominations must be addressed to the Clerk of Parliament in sealed envelopes clearly marked with the name of the Commission. This may be emailed to zagvacancy@palzim.gov.zw, posted or hand-delivered to the Clerk of Parliament, Parliament of Zimbabwe, New Parliament Building, 2nd floor, room 201, Records and Information Department, Mount Hampton. By post, P.O. Box CY 298, Causeway, Harare. The closing date for submission of nomination is Friday, 13 February 2026 at 6:13 hours.
Coming to you live from Harare, Newsplus gives you the latest updates. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Now, still on our top stories, Telecom's operators have called for the harmonization of local and national tax levies, saying the current tax framework is increasing the cost of service provision. And the operators made the appeal during an ICT stakeholder meeting with the Minister of ICT at Potra's offices in Harare earlier today.
Telecom players have expressed concern over what they described as excessive taxation at both local and national levels. They revealed that they are subjected to a combined monthly tax and levy burden of about 30%, a situation they say is causing serious working capital challenges.
City councils are now proposing to charge monthly rentals instead of once-off trenching fees. In terms of our proposed interventions to the ministry, is to harmonize national and local authority policy and legislation so that we reduce the tax burden on operators and to standardize local council levies.
Government made a commitment to engage the Minister of Finance and ensure taxes are reduced.
So I'm sure when we have the next meeting, we'd at least have deliberated together with the Minister of Finance and be able to come up with a position in terms of the taxes in the in the sector of ICT.
Tel1 called on government to implement the One Device Per Pupil program to promote digital literacy across Zimbabwe. This is set to promote the domestic market for locally produced gadgets.
To drive implementation of this policy to accelerate digital skills and e-government adoption, we want to create a guaranteed domestic market to support ZITCO, local device assembly in country, and strengthen national digital inclusion and local manufacturing value chains.
With authorities pledging to create a sustainable environment and provide resources to enable telecom companies and related industries to grow and remain competitive, hope is that these efforts will soon bear fruit. For ZTM Prime, I am Sotachisiwe Gwaza.
And in other news, at least 62 people were killed while 81 others were injured in human-wildlife conflict incidents in 2025. And this marks a 26% rise in comparison to 49 killed and 90 injured in 2024. Zimparks says this was largely driven by climate change and increasing competition for scarce water and grazing resources due to growing human and wildlife populations. Now, as part of authorities' broader efforts to support affected communities, the Department of Parks and Wildlife Management is coming up with several initiatives. More in the following report. Once, people and animals coexisted in a fragile harmony, each respecting the other's domain. Today, climate-driven pressures are forcing humans and wildlife into ever closer spaces, turning shared landscapes into battlefields where lives are lost on both sides of the fence. Between 2024 and 2025, reported human-wildlife conflict incidents surged from 1,654 to 2,090 cases. In 2025 alone, 62 people were killed and 81 injured in encounters with wild animals. The hotspots are areas close to wildlife protected spaces like Kariba, Mbire, Nyami, Hurungwe districts, among others, with crocodiles, hyenas, and elephants being the most frequent aggressors. One grieving widow recounts the loss of her husband, who was brutally attacked by a crocodile.
Baba vakabatwa negarwe vainzipiswe kudhaka kanga uri musi wemandi kwakamuka kuchinaya inini vakandisiya ndakarara zvekuti ndifunga kumaraundi 6 o'clock vanga vatobatiwa kudhara negarwe pavakanobatirwa baba uko chakafamba navo kubva seko kwakure kokuti handikwanise kutarisa ndiri panapa chichifamba navo vari mumvura.
It has become a gamble with nature as climate change reshapes habitats.
Wildlife populations are growing, human populations are growing, but the space remains the same. And now this is compounded by climate-induced pressures. As a result, you have scarcity of water sources, you have scarcity of grazing. And what then happens is it begins to bring people and animals into closer and more frequent contact.
Livestock losses also spiked to 801 in 2025, up from 362 in 2024, and 556 animals were neutralized.
Zvino muno muziri kuti mombe dziri kubata mbudzi chaidzo chinwa mvura dziri ngobatiwa.
One of the major interventions is the establishment of community conservancies.
This rise in numbers really underscores the urgency of the need to scale, especially preventive measures like geofencing, where, for example, we put a collar around an elephant, and that collar then sends a signal which allows us to track using softwares like Earth Ranger.
Communities have welcomed the Parks and Wildlife Amendment Act No. 4 of 2025, which provides for a human-wildlife conflict relief fund. In the end, human-wildlife conflict underscores the urgent need for communities to adapt to climate-induced changes that blur the lines between survival and tragedy, as Zimbabwe strives to safeguard the lives and wildlife that defines its heritage. Wazanai Sansole, ZTN Prime.
This is AFCON, my friend. Everything is a competition. Everything.
So here they come for the opening game, and away we are here at the African Cup of Nations.
Join our family meeting from the 21st of December to the 18th of January. Purchase a decoder for $30. AFCON 2025, live on SuperSport.
We're kicking your year off in all her glory. With more, because we got you.
You get it?
We got kicks. We got scores. We got action. We got roars.
It's my specialty.
We got drama. We got fun. We got more for everyone. With an upgrade on us, just for you. More channels, more shows, more reasons to stay.
We got you.
DSTV, we got you all the way.
It's time for your business updates. Tax advisory firm Vacancy says the new measures introduced by the Minister of Finance might help drive the formalization of Zimbabwe's economy, but also warns that more investment in digital infrastructure and formal money channels is critical to improving compliance and boosting revenue collection. Now, the firm today hosted a high-level seminar in Harare, bringing together businesses and the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority to unpack the new taxes, which took effect on January 1st. Our business reporter, Melissa Chatikobo, gives us the details.
Several new taxes, ranging from higher value-added tax and export levies to a new digital services withholding tax, came into effect at the start of 2026. While the government expects these to widen the tax base, business is seeking clarity on compliance and sustainability.
Looking at the current Finance Act, it's promoting issues around your compliance. And as taxpayers, they might not be ready. But if you're not complying, Zimra will come for an audit, and they always do the necessary to make sure that they collect. And because of that, I see Zimra and together with the Minister of Finance being able to meet the 9 billion target.
Experts said while the reforms could boost formalization, success depends on how well the financial ecosystem supports digital payments and lowers banking costs.
Because there are a number of things that probably needs to be fixed from a Reserve Bank point of view, coming to the tax issues. So if then there are structures that then allow or motivate people to use the banking system and reduce the amount of money that is circulating.
Collaboration between the private sector and policymakers is key to close compliance gaps and improve efficiency.
Where we also brief the executive on the changes that will have taken place and how they need to organize their affairs so that they comply with the regulations.
With more engagements like this, stakeholders hope the new tax regime will not only raise revenue, but also make it easier for businesses to operate in a fair and transparent environment. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chatikobo in Harare.
And now in the world of sport, Zimbabwe Under-19 men's cricket squad will face Pakistan tomorrow at Takashinga Sports Club as they look to mount a strong challenge in the ongoing ICC Under-19 Men's ODI World Cup. Now, the young chevrons have their destiny in their own hands after England defeated Scotland by 252 runs this afternoon in the Group C encounter. A positive result against Pakistan will keep Zimbabwe in contention and give the young chevrons a chance to progress to the Super 6 stage. Zimpaper's Sports Hub journalist Tinashe Kusema gives us a preview of the match.
Teams going through Zimbabwe and Pakistan could still very much join England in the Super 6 stage. We caught up with Zimbabwe Under-19 captain Simbarashe Mutsegenyere, and he seems very optimistic that Zimbabwe have ironed out all their mistakes, especially when it comes to their batting. Their batting has been their biggest weakness so far during the build-up in the tournament, with the middle order often being called in to save the day for Zimbabwe, with the likes of Dhruv Patel, Kian Blignot, and Mtsegere himself being the three crucial guys who could be the difference makers for Zimbabwe. They face Pakistan on all too familiar foe. The two teams have met 4 times prior to the World Cup itself, with Pakistan carrying a slight edge, having won their last encounter, which was the Tri-Series final just before the World Cup.
And that's a wrap on Newsplus this Wednesday evening. Appreciate your time. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. Now from myself and the crew behind the scenes, have a good night.